Montreal has got a way higher propensity to rent than homeownership. And if we could all copy Montreal, I think we'd be fine. But you're right that the Toronto dream is you got to own the real estate.
Otherwise, you're a bum. You failed in life because you don't own a bungalow in Etobicoke or something. Yeah.
My grandfather, lived in Montreal for 90 years of his life and rented, and it wasn't strange.
When you say immigration needs to continue, as much as I, from one perspective, agree, I think it could be tamed a little bit. I think we need to kind of rearrange what we got here already a little bit and see if the pieces fit, because it feels like the country's kind of ripping apart at the seams. Like, it doesn't seem like you can get much done properly anymore at any kind of pace. Like, I mean, medically and like with paperwork with the government, although planning is on board with things, that's not what matters. Like, get a passport or get your driver's license, or they abolished the stickers on licenses because it was like there was too much to do. They couldn't keep up with everything else. Like, give them the stickers back, right? But like, we can't keep bringing in a million plus people every year.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right number. I think it should be in the 400, 500,000. And I do think that the international student fiasco is a bit of a problem. We are looking now at student housing because there's an opportunity in all kinds of towns across the country. But I just thought of an anecdote. Like, in December, I took my family to Jamaica, and we got an Uber on the way to the airport, and it was a Jamaican guy, and we were talking to him in the car, and he was in construction, and he was telling us how Toronto is so difficult, he can't make any money here. And I was shocked that he was saying it. He was talking about moving to Nineveh because he said there's so much money there, and such a huge opportunity for him. And I was surprised that that's what he was going to do. Then we get to Jamaica, and we go to the same place all the time. We know a lot of the staff there, and someone had their cousin at the resort. That one of the staff had their cousin that was there. I think he used to work at the resort, and he was there as a guest. And I sat at the bar with him and chatted with him a little bit. And he's telling everybody, you got to come to Canada. He makes so much money. He came to Toronto 10 years ago, and he's doing so well, and way more than he could ever make in Jamaica. And it was literally like 3 days apart, where I have a Jamaican in Toronto telling me that he can't make it in Toronto, and then a Jamaican who lives in Toronto but in Jamaica telling everybody in Jamaica to come to Toronto. So there's different perspectives from different people. I think that there is still lots of opportunity in Canada if you're willing to work for it. And I do think that we need to continue to bring, like I said, skilled labor in, because we're going to have to replace all the workers who want to retire, all the baby boomers.
If those guys were a decade apart, their experiences, I think it's like two different countries, quite honestly, right? Like, Canada's not the same Canada as it was even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago.
More recently. One thing that people don't talk about is, like, the Canadians who are here all have this Canadian dream, which is buy real estate, own real estate. It's the only way to go. If you don't, you're like a shame to the family and everything else. Where people coming here, I think that won't be instilled in them, and that they're going to come here, they're going to look at the numbers, and they're going to say, oh, it makes more sense for me to rent. It makes more sense for me to live in one house with multiple people, different families, and keep my housing costs down and make that income, and then do whatever I want from it. So I think the demand for buying places as far as end users, so condos and all that kind of stuff, won't be able to keep up. And I think that the purpose-built rental building strategy, which is clearly expanding, and now the government's got their, the GST, and then the HST, and then we've got all the CMHC's Canada Mortgage Bond Fund and everything like that. Everybody's increasing now to be able to get more money into purpose-built rental housing. And I think that will satisfy the demand from immigration. So Darryl, I hear what you're saying, but I think that the percentage of new Canadians renting is very high compared to people who are
interesting. I think your perspective is very Toronto, and not to disrespect anything.
Tell me.
But Montreal has got a way higher propensity to rent than homeownership. And if we could all copy Montreal, I think we'd be fine. But you're right that the Toronto dream is you got to own the real estate.
Otherwise, you're a bum. You failed in life because you don't own a bungalow in Etobicoke or something. Yeah.
My grandfather, lived in Montreal for 90 years of his life and rented, And it wasn't strange. Like, he had a business, he invested in his business, he invested in the stock market. He just didn't invest in real estate. It probably was a big mistake. He could have made a ton of money because of, you know, if he bought a house in 1950 in Montreal, he would have done really well. But he rented, and it was normal to rent in Montreal. And I think that we need to try to normalize renting. If you guys follow my social media, you'll see that I just posted a picture of me and a developer with a sledgehammer this week at our purpose-built rental site that we just demoed on Tuesday on Shepherd Avenue in Clanton Park.
And
so you just got a nice little bonus with this GST, right?
Yeah, we kind of did the math. It's going to be, you know, 6-7 million savings on a 170 unit rental building. There's some potential savings right on Shepherd. There's some potential savings on the DCs as well, that they've recently announced. But I could tell you the biggest holdback is we can only build purpose-built rental with CMHC financing, unless you're a pension fund that has a different return profile and you can wait 20 years to get your return. If you're a normal investor trying to do a purpose-built rental, the only way it works is with CMHC. And I think it's amazing that they announced that they were going to increase whatever 20 billion more in the CMHC program. But what I want to hear is that they're going to double their staff, because that's our issue right now. Is it takes forever. Like it used to be, it takes forever to get through zoning. We've been zoned on the site, we demoed the site. We can't get the CMHC to move fast enough. And that's going to be our biggest holdup right now on that project, is just waiting for, I mean, it's not going to hurt. We're not that far away. We're in the process with them. But if someone came to me today with another purpose-built rental and said, I'm going to do it, I'd say you need CMHC. And then I would probably add a year to their timeline, because right now I don't have faith that CMHC can move fast enough. And we talked before about how time kills development. So I hope with that announcement this week that they're going to look at that and boost their staff, because that's the biggest thing that they need. And then it's also municipalities. Like we have a project in Richmond Hill. We got our zoning a long time ago. We built, it's a low-rise project. We built, I don't know, a third of the houses. We've sold another third of the houses a year ago, more than that, probably a year and a half ago, we sold the houses. Can't get a permit. Don't know how the city, they just don't respond. The city of Richmond Hill has been one of the most difficult I've ever seen in terms of they don't have staff. There's nobody in their office that can give us a permit.
It's like Scarborough. Have you been to Scarborough's city center there? It's like a ghost town. There's just weeds growing everywhere in the middle of the concrete. It's crazy.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our clips channel. Why don't you go and check out some more clips? We got lots of other good content somewhere over here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.